Okay, small plus for white. Small plus for white, pair of bishops. Doesn't look like a lot though. If you play e4, then you're stuck with this isolated pawn. White doesn't want that. So the point of the queen d3, so you can play bishop d2, connect the rooks, and e3, bishop e1, and then it's a slow game where white is gonna go probably prepare f3, e3, bishop f2, and then e4, then e5. Yeah. So white needs to put this pawn here, get some space, and pair of bishops will do something. Right now, interesting. Yeah, it's kind of equal. Yeah, queen d6 stops the bishop movement. Not completely though. Yeah, the knight's transferring to c6, put the pressure on the pawn. Potential knight can go to b4, and more importantly, this square is left with the other knights. I mean, I'm not a big fan of this move, to be honest. I mean, knight on c6 is okay, but knight on d7 is fine also. Actually, on d7 he could go to b6 and hit the squares. So again, I'm not a big fan of this move, to be honest. And the third place battle, h6 modern chess. Stops bishop g5 and plays bishop d6. Okay, that makes sense. So it's kind of London system, except that black plays h6. Yeah. So it's actually good tempo development for whites. Transposition to the queen's gambits declined, very ancient system, except that again pawn is on h6. Apparently it's advantage white, yeah. And I'm not sure about this move. Okay, it makes sense, and after b6 you switch over to e4. Yeah, so this is probably a critical position right now. He took with this pawn, but taking with this pawn was also very interesting. Only problem is the b file, but how bad can this be? Yeah, that's a big question. Well, the threat is here or here. Which one is it? Which one is it? Because if you play a6 and b8, then a lot of things are happening here. Yeah, so it's kind of bad. So bishop a6, then yeah, this looks kind of bad. Yeah. All right. So e5 corrects. And I think white has to play something like this, or rook e1 and e4. Yeah, he has to play this, otherwise he's just got absolutely nothing. Bishop b7, rook e1, takes queen d6. Yeah. So this is a critical position. White is better for sure. Difference in the bishops. But how much better? How much better? c8, d5, knight f6 looks pretty equalish. We have to calculate this line though. Ah, queen b8. Okay, queen b8 is super move. Let's try this to take here. Yeah. Rook e7, you still take because the first rank is pinned. Yeah, this is mega move. This is the mega move. Harrison Alfred Nation, what's up? Looks like bad IQP for white. You mean for black, yeah? Yeah, it looks pretty bad for black. But okay. This is very complicated actually, very difficult to play correctly for both. So rook e3, I understand the idea is to play rook c3 and then you can take this, yeah? Get extra pawn. And black is forced to play this. If you play rook c8, then actually knight h4. Yeah, knight h4 is also a thematic move. Knight f5, rook g3 is very sudden. Switch to the attack, yeah? Again, difference in the bishops. This bishop is everywhere. Here, here. This guy is just protecting this pawn. Yeah, so it's actually unbelievable. Like in one move, situation changes completely. And then black has to play pawn down. I think I actually made a draw against Isipenko once being this pawn down, but I managed to put the knight here and make a draw, but it was painful. Pawn is a pawn. Knight b4. I didn't play this. Cannot take this, yeah. So rook c8, and then you have to play this. Take. Now you can play this, and then rook c7 must be played, yeah. So it's a trade here. Again, white is better, but it's a big fight still. Queen a4. Well, he plays very solid chess, I guess. But e4 is a standard in this position, especially with the pawn on b6. It's a standard. And now black is okay because it's too late for e4. Yeah. And black is ready to play c5. So probably the idea was to play this. But black can play this and put the knight on e6, and then he's ready for c5. Knight e2. Okay, c8. I think rook a8 is logical. And c5. Yeah. Quick c5 for black. Yeah, black has to play c5. If he can go c5, then he's okay. But the problem is getting that. That's why you play e4 before. Yeah, so black is stuck with the pawn on c6. Yeah, it kind of makes sense. So bishop d2, knight c6. Which rook? Yeah, I think it should be this rook, to be honest. And then white wants to pretty much trade everything and play the endgame with the pair of bishops. It kind of will be still unpleasant for black because pair of bishops, especially on the endgame, is pretty strong. There is a certain advantage to playing this rook because then this rook goes here, and then the idea you keep the queens and you go for this e4 break. e3, okay. Kind of allows knight a5, and then you cannot allow this knight here, so you have to play this, but that means you're weakening the squares, yeah. Knight goes back, then you can't really put the rook here. Gotta play something like this. And there's, of course, there's also e5. So I'm also curious if black plays e5 here, yeah. Then it's probably instant draw something. Yeah, remember in the previous game, it was actually Marc-André who was having this isolated pawn. And in this game, it's Freycinet who has the isolated pawn, yeah? It's kind of interesting. Queen d7 hits this, so queen d6. I like active chess. And then rook d8, yeah. Now you're ready for d4. And it looks completely equal. This is hanging, so knight e4, bishop e1, runs into this, and this, yeah. So black is actually a little bit better now because, you know, white doesn't have the defender. So this e5 is very possible, very possible. I think Marc-André is playing a little bit too carelessly. But the pawn on e2, e5 here is a little bit different. Like if you play here, then the presence of this pawn allows you to have this trick. And it looks pretty bad on one hand because you have now double pawns, but on the other hand, this is kind of weak. White can fix this with the bishop here, rook here, and then fix it on this d5 square. Then this structure is actually better than this one. Because you can push these guys and play g4, g5, and then hit this guy. So this is weaker than this. I mean, you can take with the queen, but then it's nothing after this, yeah. So you guys see the difference, yeah? Yeah. Are you reading for someone? Well, yeah. I'm rooting for Marc Andre. I'm allowed to root because he was my former student. But now Laurent is his current coach. Okay, so the coach is playing his students. So, but I'm rooting for my student, of course, former student. You know, yeah. So I'm all for keeping your structure flexible and intact, but sometimes, you know, there are exceptions where double pawns are actually quite okay and better than the normal structure. It is extremely rare, but there are cases, yeah. Obviously, in that position, if it was a pawn endgame, black is winning, but okay, it's very far to the pawn endgame. I am curious though. I am curious though. In this structure, yeah? If he plays d4, then what? Knight e2, you don't have time for d3. Ah, if you don't have time for d3, then okay, that's very good, yeah. Take, take, queen b6, b3, rook d8. You cannot play because of bishop a5. So g6 first, and then rook d8. Yeah, but now this pawn is weak, yeah. And black has to hope for a miracle. Yeah, probably take, take. And again, extra pawn, but it's doubled, very hard to win. The only chance is if you undouble it, I mean trade it, and then play 3 versus 2. But it's still not easy to win this, because bishop is very strong, yeah? Bishop is very strong. I don't understand this b5 move. I'll play something like this. And you see it's already 0.8. Yeah, so it's not so simple. f6, rook here, king f7. And the knight starts to chase the bishop. Makes sense. Because the bishop moves here, you can pretty much pin it. We'll check first, yeah. And then pin it. Yeah, the king knight versus the king knight versus king and bishop in this endgame is actually not that clear. It's not that clear, yeah. King here. The computer actually likes this move. I used to play knight a5, I guess. G4. And black has kind of a zugzwang. He has to move the rook with the bishop. He moves the bishop, then the knight jumps in. If he moves the rook, then he has to worry about this check. Yeah? And now the rook managed to infiltrate, yeah. So, and it's already +1, yeah. This is already very unpleasant because you can play this, hit this pawn, go behind, hit something, knight e5 even. Yeah, so this is actually not that simple. All right, so knight a5 is, let's see, was it played or not? Yeah, it's played, yeah. So knight is coming here, yeah. And if b3, knight goes back again, this bishop and knight, it's not going to be easy. Knight b8, I'm very surprised with that move. Yeah, remember we looked at knight f8 here, just simply protect the bishop, put the knight here, and then go for c5. Black plays this game a little bit weirdly. Why would you want to play knight b8? I don't understand this. This I don't understand. Knight actually belongs on f8. Probably he was scared of knight e5. Then this and what? And then what? That's knight g6, knight h4. Wait, I know that sound. And b6 isn't desirable with bishop c5, creating outpost for bishop on c5. Yeah, because if white gets knight on c6 and plays b4, b5, then it's kind of really bad, because pawn a7 is kind of bad. And it's not so easy to keep that bishop alive as well. So that endgame is very tricky. Yeah, that's true. You had a stone wall recently where you allowed the light squared bishop trade as white, where ef3 and the control of e4 just made my knights better. Okay. Yeah. So, yeah, so this is, I think the knight on f8 is better than the knight on b8. It's just, I mean, it's clear, yeah. Rooks are disconnected, knight is on the original square. He made this move and now returned back. Obviously the knight is coming back, but it's not going to be simple to play c5 anymore, yeah. Like you play c5 here, and now this is like, will be forever pinned. Probably take, and queen a5 sometimes is played with idea of knight here, but knight e2 is more common. Although again, I mean, you have this move, okay. If knight moves like here, then knight c6 and rook c5, so black has to stand, yeah. Stand how? Or take? Not sure about the pawn takes. I like knight takes, to be honest. 94, and then just trade everything. Like play here, here, and then here. Something. See, it's already 0.7, yeah. So queen f6. Black has to be careful now. Black has to be careful. This is a very hard sequence for black to find. Rook e8 is not that simple. But yeah, the major plan for black in this position is always to go for d4. And if white takes this pawn, it's extra, but it's weak, okay? And black should be okay. So what we got? So by the way, today is the if we go to leadchess.org, they do have this title arena, but this is bullet. And I'm like, bullet? Me? Probably not. But it's interesting idea, yeah. You know what, guys? I had this huge plans for the afternoon, but I feel like I am that tired, yeah. So yeah, I started streaming, and then like 15 minutes, 20 minutes in now, I am like, I'm completely drained of energy. Let me check. How long was I streaming? It was like 19 minutes. Yeah, 19 minutes. My God. And I'm already drained. Chess is hard, okay? Because brain energy is like one of the most energy. How to say this? Energy expensive work. And I spent energy looking at these two games, and it's gone. I have nothing left. So maybe I'm thinking maybe I should take the rest, take part maybe in this title arena, and then do the recap. I wanted actually to wait for this game. If they make a draw, e5 is now very strong, and actually black is better, yeah, because all these pieces are completely loose. I think he missed e5 here. I wanted to look at the tie breaks. If they actually make a quick draw, then they're gonna play tie breaks, yeah. Then I wanted to see those tie breaks live, but I don't know what's gonna happen, yeah. I mean, if black plays e5, black is just a little bit better now. There is one line that I want to check here. Take here, here, queen f5. Take, take. Can he play this? Okay, he can, but it's like nothing, yeah. And then he has to play this. b4, but okay, it's equal position. And then yeah, the pawn break or a6 even, yeah. Yeah, it looks equal anyway. I mean, that's why he doesn't play d4. He plays queen d7 and he goes for this 94 thing. But now white is maybe take. Oh, f5, critical. Oh, this is a nice trap, by the way. Black is like close to winning now. And black is better, because if you have to play moves like this, then clearly black is better. Rook d8, bishop b4. And this, and okay, should be a draw, yeah. So I'm curious, e5 makes a lot of sense, okay. If black plays anything else, he is a little bit worse, because once white rooks come in, knight can also go here, and then he plays b4 maybe, and then prepares, you know, e4. No, I don't play StarCraft. Sorry. No, but yesterday I had two streams, and I didn't think, you know, it would be this energy depleted, but it kind of depleted me fast. Plus, you know, there is recent family drama again. You know, my father like wrote to me and to my siblings that you know, I gave this interview. He's so mad. How dare I make him look like a fucking monster? I mean, he is, and he denies it. So there's a lot of that emotional drama that's also energy depleting. Yeah, because you always like ask yourself questions. Are you wrong? Are you right? Like when you're saying this or that, yeah, like were you doing this or that? Like you're always doubting, yeah. And like, okay, it's kind of crazy when people try to guilt trip you. That's what my father is a master of. He was always guilt tripping us into stuff that he wants us to do. And yeah, I actually kind of stay. I want to stay away from people like that. But sometimes it's not always possible. Yeah. Yeah. Narcissist. Yeah. I mean, there is no such term in Russian, if you know what I mean. It's a very interesting term in psychology. I'll have to ask my wife. Is there a narcissist popular term in Russian psychology?
Yes, I guess it's worldwide.
What?
Worldwide since ancient Greece.
Yes, I know, but in Russia I haven't heard it much.
But you haven't lived much in Russia.
Yeah, I understand, but in Russian language, is there a similar word?
Narcissism.
Yeah, but I've never heard people use
I
it.
heard a lot. Нарциссический комплекс.
Ну, очень редко я слышал такое. Шизофрения, шизофрения популярна.
How much time did you spend in streets and?
Yeah, that's true. Okay. Yeah, and uh, by the way, what is the difference between narcissist and the princess complex? Is there a difference?
Yes.
There is?
Yeah.
What is the difference?
Okay, can you explain?
Okay, I'm sorry. This stream is becoming a psychotherapy session stream. Yeah. Uh, yeah, my wife is actually very knowledgeable in this area. She read a lot of books. You know, she's been suffering for a long time from also
Different.
different psychological traumas.
Different adventures. Different versions.
Ah, Narcissistic neighbor. Okay, yeah. Yeah, that's true. Okay, so he didn't play e5. That's good news for Marc-Andre, I guess. Yeah, black plays e5. I think white is looking actually worse. Yeah, probably he was concerned that if you don't play, maybe he doesn't take. Maybe he plays this. Yeah, and then you have to play this, and then black kind of runs a small strategic risk here after this move because the white can play f3, then becomes a French structure, and this is sort of weak. Yeah. Uh, so like f3 or g4. Which one first? Because I'm not. Yeah, but you cannot take with the bishop. You have to take with the rook. Is that bad? Well, it's not that bad then. So okay, it's probably rook f2. Yeah. So maybe black was kind of afraid of this structure. It is possible. Rook a f1. What is rook a f1? Do you really want to sack the exchange here? Suddenly makes a lot of sense, yeah. And e4, this and this. Yeah, actually makes a lot of sense. Tactical, yeah. So 97, but you still take this. My God, suddenly, you guys see this, yeah? The position is suddenly wide open. Take. 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 Queen g3 advantage white, bishop g3. And what the hell is this? Yeah. And this, and this. And bishop e5. You have to close the bishop, of course. Crazy, yeah. You guys see this crazy sequence. Because these guys are not the top players, I don't expect them to find it, yeah. I mean, after watching yesterday's Gukish game, if this was Gukish versus Duda, I'm pretty sure they'll find this. No offense meant for our French championship guys, but they're kind of not quite there yet, yeah. No offense. A6 is actually a very good move. Dark squares, they're not weak. Black also wants to expand and maybe later hit this guy again, but more or less prevents this queen b5. So a6 is fine. I played the Chimbanenko all the time. A6 is very useful in the structure, and Slav it's a good move. Do you smoke? Thank God I don't smoke, man. I can't, once I was in the morgue and they showed us the lungs of the smokers. Dude, I don't want to see anything like that ever again in my life. It's like, no, thank you. That's why, when I see a smoker and, I really like concerned about that person, I tell them, why don't you go to the morgue and take a look at what the smoking does to your lungs? And it might give you a second thought. So that's my suggestion. Of course, no normal person would ever go to a morgue, yeah, in the first place. What do you mean? What principles? What do you mean, Arsenal and Rishi? Everything is concrete. There are principles. What principle is black here breaking? Yeah, what rule? He's actually following the principles. He has the dark squared bishop and he puts the pawns on the light squares. That is actually the basic principle. These dark squares, they're not the holes. Yeah. If you had like pawn on g6, no bishop, and white bishop on h6, then you can talk about dark holes. Yeah. But right now, these are not weak. They're easily covered. They're weak only if you have this pawn, for example, on c5. Then you have pressure, and then you have outpost. If you don't have an outpost, that's not kind of weak. Okay? So, yeah, a lot of stuff is concrete also. That's true. You understand why knight a4 in this position is not better for white? Well, it depends. If you can play this, followed it with b4, knight c5, then you are better. I agree. But only if you get it. You need like 2 more tempies to do it. And you see, black can play either e5 because you're on the side, or you can play b5 and force you back. And the only reason b5, is not advisable sometimes is that you can counter it with a4 and open this diagonal. Okay, so probably the biggest question is what to do after e5. If you play on the side, black plays in the center. I think that's also a cornerstone of chess principles. Okay, and then you have to go back, and then e4, queen e2, and now b5 again. Because if you play knight c5, black can take and play d4. You cannot allow this pawn on d3, but if you take, then you're running this, you have a big problem of this, okay? So these days, strategy has to be very accurately assessed with concrete tactics. In the old days, you could play just strategy and tactics were not so advanced, but these days, thanks to the engine advancements, yeah, tactics are present everywhere. There are always pawn breaks, yeah. So knight a4 is not the greatest move. I would say that white has to do something with his rooks, because his rooks are not in the game. This is the most logical choice, this or this. I would also consider playing bishop g2, just to remove this bishop from this fork, okay? Now you're not going to play e5, obviously, yeah, because this bishop is alive and hitting everything. So if I were white, I would just play this. I would remove the bishop, queen is nice, and then develop the rook. What about here? Okay, knight on b8, knight e5, a5 is normal. All right. Yeah, chess is not easy. There are a lot of, but there, of course, I understand. There are a lot of competing ideas and concepts. So first, you master the concepts, okay? Second, you master the conflict of the concepts, and you try to resolve it and find the best solution, okay? That's true. I mean, that is the difficult part, okay? Rook is supposed to be on c1 before you go knight a4. Correct, pretty much, yes. That's why the engine actually likes this move. So they're preparing this move, exactly. Yeah. Okay, good. I'm glad that you see some sense. The thing you struggle with is evaluating when you need to address the conflict versus pushing with the concept. Exactly, Mr. Arsenal van Rieche. But the only way you can make progress there is just by playing more and practicing more and analyzing, okay? That's the only way, because after a certain point you will see the patterns and they will start to repeat themselves, okay? So, and then you'll know when the pattern works and when the pattern doesn't. When this concept is timely and when this concept is not timely. It just takes practice now. All right. That's the difference between the 20, I would say 2100 and 2400 player, pretty much. The 2400, 2500 players, they can almost resolve the conflict successfully, almost. And then once you reach that level, then you again encounter the old problem, which is finding the best candidate moves, okay? Because when you have more knowledge, more understanding, and then still you realize you're missing some candidate moves, okay? Yeah. All right, no problem. By the way, you didn't send me an email. with regards to your channel points, man. I checked, I didn't see anything from you. So if you want, send me that email and then we can talk about the time. I would suggest probably something like on Sunday. Like I usually start my events at 9:30, 9:45. I would suggest something like 9:15, and I'll set up the Fischer Chess Simul in advance, and we'll start the stream. We can do the rapid game then, okay? Right before the Fischer Chess Simul. Well, that's one way we can do that. Which is tomorrow, by the way. Well, I sent you my email in the chat. I'm not sure if you got it. Just write me an email and remind me about tomorrow then, yeah? 9:15 is okay, yeah? All right, good. So it's gonna be one game, and you pick the color if you want. If you want, you can prepare it. Yeah, we can play a specific opening game or something, whatever you want. All right. So think about it. Write me an email, and 9:15. I'll see you tomorrow in the evening. All right. Let's see. Yeah, Rook FC1 he played. Yeah. Yeah. Now probably Knight A5. Yeah. Now probably Knight A5, and then if Knight A4, then the problem is that you can take. You cannot take with the Rook. If you take with the Bishop, then Black should be okay. And there's always B5, and the idea of Knight C5, you take, and then it's not. Yeah, this is actually a complicated position. It looks simple, but it's not. Yeah, Knight E4, tricky. The idea is if you play B4, then okay, I was talking about the strategic concept, but there's always some tactics, yeah. So yeah, and this is a huge threat. If you protect against it, then another tactic. It seems like Black is losing the piece, but no, Queen F6 saves it. Yeah, yeah, it's kind of crazy. Yeah, because Knight D7 is like logical, but Knight E4 is more forcing. Yeah, because hits the bishop, the pawn with the Queen F6. I mean, Knight D7 is also not bad. Also not bad. But you have to see this move, yeah. Yeah. Yeah, because if you don't play b5, then I think white is definitely better. Bishop b2, rook c1, and knight c5, yeah. Normally black plays this move here. Normally. And knight b6, yeah. With the idea of getting the knight here also. But as you can see, it's already something. Already something for white. It's 97. Rook d8 logical, and e4, yeah. And now he's ready for this, especially with the queen here away from the king side, yeah. So if you take, and it's already knight a6, bishop c6. Yeah, so you're right. b4, knight a4, knight c5 is a standard idea here. It's always been something that white wants to get. But it's not like, it's not something that you will get, yeah, because black is actively countering your plans. Alright, so here black just keeps knight here, protects this pawn. It's also a very interesting way to play. Nolleberg performing 2500 to 12 in Singfield Cup, shouldn't be invited again. Well, you know, Nolleberg was doing really well the entire last few years. I think everybody is entitled to having a bad tournament. Okay. I think the guy just pretty much played non-stop everywhere he could. Fischer Chess, all those Grand Tours, all those, you know, he's young, but his energy is not limitless, okay? And I'm pretty sure he's completely drained at this point, okay? So he's got one bad tournament, it's fine. Yeah, it's fine. He's still a youngster, let's not forget that. And he played some amazing tournaments recently. Yeah. And the reason he lost is because he's a fighter. He is not playing boring chess. He's actually taking risks, guys. You know, yeah, of course, you're gonna lose some games, especially if you take risk and can't calculate. Well, I mean, depends on your formula. Sometimes, I can calculate really well, and sometimes there are days when I just can't see anything. Okay. And his usual style is he's always very, fighting player. He is not playing boring chess. He is fighting. He's taking risk, and usually that pays off because he can calculate well. But if the calculation is not working, then this whole style of chess is just gonna backfire spectacularly. And that's what happens in this event. He's not in the best calculating form. And of course, it's kind of easy to play a good fighting game when your opponent plays for a fight. Imagine if somebody plays boring chess like Queen's Gambit Decline, yeah, and then how do you fight? Yeah, you have to take risk. Otherwise, it's gonna be maneuvering, boring draw. So that's what he does. He takes on d5, he goes long castle, and he pushes the pawns. Yeah, that's one way to do it, but it's risky. Queen Gambit Decline is boring. Yes, it's very boring. I mean, I'm not talking about this game, even though it's still boring to me. Um, because it's like semi-closed and you have pieces maneuvering around. They're all preparing some sneaky attack, and you have to be ready for the sneaky attack. Yeah. Nothing is pretty much hanging, no sacrifices, no pawn pushing, no open kings. It's strategic, yes, but strategic is boring when you've seen it too much. Yeah, Korchnoi was a fighter. Yeah, that's true. So, you know, when you say that Abdusatorov, like, he shouldn't be invited, I think that's exactly why they invited him in the first place, because he's actually showing great fighting spirit and chooses fighting chess over boring draws. I mean, that's why they invite Aronian, because Aronian is playing a lot of very sharp opening lines, which he, of course, prepared with engines and really deep. And he displays all these magnificent engine ideas and lines. And they're all look incredibly sharp and fantastic, yeah? Sure. Okay, you have your opinion, I have mine. I have obviously high opinion of Nepo, of course, but Nepo is like 30 plus years old, and this guy, he's only 20 plus something, yeah? So, in like another 5 years, Nepo will be almost professionally retired player, while this guy, he'll be only inching closer to the world crown. Yeah, I mean, we can discuss, all these traits that the players possess, but the most important trait for the player who is fighting for the World Chess Championship title is to get through the qualifying cycles and qualify for the match. That's the only thing that works. Nepo qualified twice, so it worked for him. Okay. Abdusatorov didn't yet qualify, but he has a lot of chances. He has like at least, if we take a look at championship cycle, which is now once every 2 years. Remember, in the old days, it was once every 3 years. It was incredibly long, yeah. So they are very lucky that we have only 2 years to wait, and still, but it's only once every 2 years, and you failed twice, and it's already 4 years off, and there are other guys who were younger 4 years ago. They look like kids, and now they're already 16, 17. And they're demonstrating amazing chess, amazing calculation, yeah. So they're already competing with you now. So 2 years is huge difference in chess. 4 years is like a generational gap, pretty much. Yeah. But 20-year-olds, they still have like at least another 10 years of competing for the World Chess Championship title. And now everybody knows how to play chess, everybody analyzes with the engines, has the ability to look at all sorts of openings, set up all sorts of traps, improve your game. You know, I mean, the competition in chess right now is probably the largest I've ever seen. And the way it looks, it's not gonna get any better. It's only getting more fierce. Okay? The competition will get even worse. While the prices are pretty much the same. The cost of living goes up, chess prices remain the same. It's incredible. And then they wonder why like only the top 10 players in the world they actually make money, yeah, and the other players they barely survive. If we also include the fact that there is no pension for the older players like myself, yeah, then I often wonder like it is actually then gambling. Chess is gambling, except that then you should probably just play poker because in poker you get millions, you can earn millions, yeah. In chess, you don't have a lot of that, yeah. Well, history is very subjective, yeah. Carlsen is the best, yeah, because we still we still are in the times where we remember Garry Kasparov, yeah, and how dominant he was. We remember still the times when there was Karpov. Imagine the next generation of people, yeah, who don't know who Korchnoi is, who have barely heard about Kasparov or read about him only from the books, yeah, or Karpov. And the same thing with Magnus. Like when Magnus turns like 60, people will wonder like who the hell was Magnus? Supposedly one of the best players in the world, but at the time they will have new champions, new role models. Yeah. When Magnus turns 60, that will be like what, 25 years from now or something. Gukish will be only 40. Yeah. And by that time we'll have like at least another 5 world champions, pretty sure. Okay, maybe 4. I recommend line against Queen C2 and Nimzo? Not really. I'm not a theoretical specialist. I can't recommend you lines, man. Aesthetics can play a huge part in people's opinion too, whether players and define who think is best, not the same as my favorite, the greatest Capablanca. Okay. Yeah, but that if you forget a move, that implies you have to memorize the theory. Yeah. Memorization is important, but right now memorization is just like 90% of your game result. If you remember the move in your analysis, then you're good. If you don't, then you busted. Yeah. I mean, that's not actually chess. The chess was originally, the idea was to compete intellectually with your opponents, where simply it's your mind versus your opponent's mind over the board in a scenario, in a position situation where both of you face unknown. Okay? What's happening right now is, first of all, you're not using your own brain, you're using the engine for your preparation, and second, you know all these positions. There is no unknown. The only unknown arises after you've done your preparation, but by the time the preparation is done, it's a technical position which you pretty much convert or make a draw. So chess these days is very far from the original idea of what it was. Yeah. Can Magnus maintain 2700 at 60? Come on, man, be serious. Nobody can be 2700 at 60 if they actively playing. Yeah, you can be like Anand and just play like 10 games a year, but I don't consider that as being active player. He's just maintaining his high rating, so feels good about it. Yeah, I also had a high rating until I started playing at open tournaments to survive, to pay bills, and couple draws against 23, 2400, and then you minus 10 points in one tournament. You know, a couple draws like that in another tournament, you lose another 20 points. I mean, if we look at Vicious results in Gibraltar, he was losing points there like crazy. I think he lost like 20 points at some point, maybe 15 points. Then, of course, at the Olympiads, they also lose all the rating points. So that's why they stop playing. They don't play. They only play in the high level top-rated LO events to keep their rating artificially inflated, and that's a big problem with chess. Nobody should be allowed to do that. You know, if you're an active, you should just keep your rating. You should not be allowed to keep your rating. You must play at least like 35 games a year or 30 games a year. Okay, I think they do have this requirement of 30 games a year, but pretty sure a lot of people skirt that and they don't take them off the list. But they should start enforcing that because I think it's absolutely ridiculous. Yeah. Fischer Random, yes, it's an advanced version of classical chess, and it features the same unknown that chess had at the beginning. And there are a lot of new patterns, a lot of structures that have yet to be discovered in Fischer chess. And I think it's way more fair to the black because you can fight for the advantage with black from the very first two moves. If white doesn't do correctly, then black can take over in the first two moves, which is impossible in chess. In chess, if you play black, you have to memorize, analyze, and hope to equalize in like 15-20 moves, okay? Only equalize, yeah. I mean, unless you play some gambits and you hope for a mistake and then you win, yeah. But okay, realistically, that doesn't happen a lot. Yeah. Man with the head of the dog, yeah. What's up? All right, so we saw this position. Let's go back here. Okay, what we see here, 97 is played. Bishop g2, grandmaster stuff, knight b6, and black is ready. See, knight b6 stops knight a4, yeah? That's another idea. And also the square is left for the bishop if you play e4. So black is very solid. There'll be a lot of maneuvering now. The problem with knight on b6 that it doesn't do much except take the square away. That's all. That's his sole function. Okay, and okay, protect the pawn, yeah. But otherwise this knight is not that great. I'm thinking maybe black wants to play bishop d6, queen e7, hit this pawn and force either this or a4. Unlikely. So yeah. I mean, yeah, the convention suggests this as a second line. I kind of like it. You kind of open the file, but the pawns are doubled, which means you can't really remove this knight by playing b5. But you do have the open file, yeah. And then potentially you can double here. Some pressure, but double pawns, yeah. Yeah. All right, guys, while we wait for this result, let's do a quick arena maybe, so you all get... so let's do something. All right, which arena do you guys want? We did yesterday... what did we do yesterday? Yesterday we did Tarash, right? Tarash in London with G6. I will leave London for the evening part. More people are there. What can we do? Theoretical thematic arena, which might be useful. All right, let's do the good old Spanish arena, yeah. Let's go, good, let's do this again, let's do the Yanish. I forgot to look at it. It's kind of important. I think Yanish is actually very, very, very good opening for black. Nobody refuted it yet. Alright, so editor, and we'll start in 5 minutes. No rated, no berserk. All Alright, let me put it into the chats. Because I'm gonna fall asleep, man, if I don't do this. Alright, let's go. Join the tournament, gentlemen. Starts in 4 minutes and 30 seconds. If you don't join us, it'll be gone. And you'll lose your opportunity to play today forever. And then you'll be sorry. Una, por favor. Falling asleep is a job risk, yes, absolutely. Yeah. All right, let's go. Yeah, that's why I like arenas, because you can leave and join anytime. So it's cool. Arsenal Fanrici, is real estate still good in investment? I mean, land is eternal, yes. The prices only go up. Crazy. If I didn't become a chess professional, I would probably go be either IT or into movies. That's for sure. Because I love movies. I mean, I'll probably go into the B movies area because I love horror and sci-fi. Yeah, so those Wes Craven, Twilight movies, The Thing. Actually, I'm so excited about modern cinema. We have shows like Foundation, based on science fiction. Then we have Aliens, The Earth, based on horror. Yeah, I'm like, I love this stuff, man. Yes, it's not according to the books, it's not the canon, but who cares? It looks good. Yeah. I mean, no, James Bond. I actually don't like James Bond. Actually, I watched recently with my wife this James Bond movie about the tarot card, I think, something. Was it?
It was wrong name, that's why I wanted to watch it.
Yeah, I know, but it was.
I was really disappointed.
Yeah, my wife was very disappointed, but I thought it was so corny and cheesy, those one-liners. It was the Moore guy who was played it. The guy like literally had the whole movie was about his one-liners. I mean, it's crazy. Yeah. Do you consider your rival? Rival? Dude, I'm like 51 years old. I'm retired from chess for the last 10 years. I mean, like, I don't have no rivals, man. What are we rivals at? At being retired? Come on. Well, before retirement, well, I was competing for the World Chess Championship cycle, playing Karpov and playing Topalov and
10,
winning World
9,
Cups.
8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
I actually
0.
didn't have rivals. I had the competition that I had to, you know, to go through. The Russian dude doesn't like the British spy movies. Uh, Actually, when I came to the US first, I kind of liked them, to be honest. But it's just now that I'm looking at that stuff and I'm like trying to understand what was about it that I liked so much. I mean, some of the movies when I watched when I was a kid, like Goldfinger, I had really fond memories. From Russia with Love, Octopus, yeah, etc. And that was pretty good. And I think there's good. I mean, but there are some absolutely horrible Bond movies. You can't argue with that, man. There are some absolutely horrible. I mean, and the one I was talking recently about the Tower Cars, that was the one recently that I really didn't like. Wait, why are you giving me two pieces? Yeah, sure. I mean, exactly. There is a certain charm, yes. Absolutely. This is so tempting, but it's so cheesy. Alright, let's grab the pawn. Besides, I'm not the Russian dude. I mean, like, that is the problem. I lived in the United States for 25 years, okay, or something. And people still call me Russian. I'm more American than Russian. But I am kind of consider myself as a guy of two worlds because, yes, I lived in the Soviet Union. The country no longer exists, by the way, until I was 14. Until I was 14. So I do remember what it was like. And again, when you were a kid, you had some fond memories of stuff, you know? I mean, I was a kid. I didn't care about politics or anything. I went to high school, had friends, had my fights. Yeah, I had my stupid kids' games, and that was fun. What was not fun is the way, you know, my childhood was in general, but apart from that, you know, there was a very nice breakfast we had, um, a lot of good cakes, you know, but mostly it's the kids in my class, you know, the friends that I had, the girls that I liked. What do you want? We're all human, yeah. In large part, politics is invented so that people stay content and just, you know, do what their governments tell them to do, pretty much. Pretty much the only role of the politics. Politicians were supposed to be servant of people. If you look at the constitution as government by the people, for the people, has it been lately for the people? The last 20 years in the US? I thought about it and I thought that a little, but not too much, as it was definitely progressing in the wrong direction. So what are we gonna do here? We're gonna play solid chess. Yeah, I mean, it's great to adopt. Again, I love the culture, man. The 80s were great and the 90s were even better. Absolutely loved it. The American movies, you know, the fast food, the Bill Clinton and Monica Lewinsky, I think that's pretty much, you know, very cool stuff. Saturday Night Live were my favorites. The Saturday night morning cartoons, X-Men, etc. The best. Steven Spielberg, Indiana Jones. My God, so many things. I absolutely loved it, man. For sure. Alright, what is this? You got a castle here probably, yeah? So I better be prepared. Maybe I should castle here as well. So, what is going on here? He's got one weakness, but he's got pair of bishops to compensate. So I would not be surprised if black is okay here. I think black is absolutely fine. The question is, can he get better than that? And I hope that I'm not gonna get into a bad position here. Trying logical moves, centralization, taking away squares, potentially, you know, moving, and I have to do something about this. Ideally, it would occupy the square with your knight, but if I do that, all right, what is that here? Knight g5. Knight g5, knight e4 is cliche, but is there anything better? This is really well protected. Really well protected. Trying to get to this pawn. He's also preparing e4, yeah. Fine. I don't have a lot of choice here. No surprise. He should was surprised with that move. Expected queen g6 put pressure on this guy. Now I can take this, but okay, that's all right. So I have no choice again. Don't have the choice in the matter, but okay, it's not that bad because I now have 4 versus 3. And the position is still kind of semi-close, so I'm fine with that. Knight is probably moved to here. Keep the pawn. He trades pair of bishops, my god. Thank you. Thank you for trading that bishop pair. Now white's advantage is obvious, yeah? With every trade, the pawn structure becomes better and better. Actually, knight b2 and rook d1 was also fine. Let's play f3. Why not? You see, pawn, take it. Then we push this rook out. Oh, then we trap it. We trap your rook, man. Good fight, but you completely misplayed the middle game. Have a great day, sure. Yeah. Alright, so let's not go off on the tangent. And we're still doing chess stream, not the politics, not psychiatry. So let's keep it chess focused. I just don't like people who come in here and provoke me into talking about other things. Oh yeah, I actually wanted to test this d3 plan, which I forgot. Okay, next game. This is not played for some reason, probably because of this. There's a similar position in the Dutch. It starts with knight f3, f5, and then d3. But here you gave me everything and d4 in one move. So it's not good for you. But I can take this knight, yeah. Extra pawn, pair of bishops, it's just too much advantage. Can threaten this pawn too. Bishop c4 looks good. Yeah, stop this completely. I mean, bishop goes here. It's like crazy position for the bishop. Ideally, you want the knight there, but since you can't get the knight, this is enough. Yeah. Now this king is stuck. So be very careful on the opening. Now I have to remove this guy, then we can put pressure. Play this, remove the square, potentially, yeah. Prophylaxis, still good idea. It's knight c5, maybe it's possible. I don't know, is it? Let's try this. And g4, g5 was also kind of interesting. Huh. Okay, let's try to open him up. If you castle here, then we're gonna try to open your king, of course, immediately. This is a serious hole now. But okay, keep pushing. F5, d6. Yes, if you think that 51 years old people can play chess, you're wrong, because Botvinnik played his World Chess Championship matches when he was 51. So I can still play some chess, yeah. It's just that I cannot play it consistently. And I hate studying modern theory, but you know, understanding of the game is there. That didn't change. Is the reaction time is much slower, and the nerves are not as good, which is also normal. But everything else is still there. Keep him pinned. Bishop takes away this rook square. See how strong this bishop is? Absolutely destroys black's position. Alright, so shall we go for b6? Let's go. Doing the square for the knight. Opening the file. A lot of checks coming. Okay, I don't give you this bishop. Sorry. My bishop is not for sale. It is not for sale, man. have to play that. Take. Now is the dilemma. What are you gonna do? But then I can do this, yeah. And then you kind of lost. Because your king has no ways to retreat. Alright, the idea is to practice the opening, okay? So keep practicing. Alright guys, those who joined, there is a thematic Yanish tournaments. I'm also keeping my eye on the French thing. French championship. Ooh, e4, okay. And the knight goes to c5, yeah. Alright, white is pushing. White is pushing. But not with a knight, yeah? Bishop d7. Ah, because knight c5 now doesn't work. But for what reason doesn't work? Queen d4, bishop c5. Because this probably is a little bit better for white. Probably, yeah. Alright, let's go. Your move. When did they stop calling it the Yanish Gambit? I have no idea. It was Yanish Gambit. I'm not sure what is it called. You know, there is a big discrepancy because US always like to do things and name things its own way. Okay, wait, how do I play here? This I don't remember at all. Was it b takes c6 or d takes c6? Ah, okay, I have queen d4, yeah. I think I have queen d4. Not sure if I have it. Yeah, you have to do this, and then check. So what is this position? I think should be good for black, to be honest. I don't believe in your... because this queen is way too strong. Yeah, but I still have this tempo. Okay, but I catch your knight, yeah? And after I win this knight, I'm a piece up, okay? Fine. I'm not gonna give you this pawn. Alright, this is a good trade then. Okay, bishop here. Take the open file. Rook's on the open file. Pretty much standard. Development is complete. Stop the bishop. Okay, I can play c5, stop this thing. Also looking to undouble my pawns. Take away the square. Push the king towards the center. Centralization. activation. Grab the pawn. Push your king, bishop d6, winning immediately. All right. So what's going on here? E4, queen here. B4, queen d7. White missed a huge advantage after b5. Missed it. Pawn takes, but now okay, advantage white, yeah, a little bit. Yeah. All right, so advantage white actually, but yeah, b5 he should have played. Yeah, I don't know. cb1 makes more sense with the idea to play a4, a5, b5. That's kind of Grishuk plan. All right, let's test this. Your move, that guy. Ah, you still play this thing, okay. Yeah, then it's still this, yeah. Yeah, then you kind of win a tempo, but it's still, that position is still not that great. We now kind of transpose into this Dutch tank. Wait, what? You seriously, you're not serious, right? You are serious, okay. Fine. Why not? Yeah. You don't get to keep your pair of bishops. You can try, but it's not gonna happen. The question is, can I keep my extra pawn and complete my development of this rook? I don't know. You cannot also sacrifice this rook because I gotta get out, yeah. So that won't work. And of course there is this move coming, so I don't think you have a lot of moves, man. It doesn't look like you have a lot of moves. Wait, I just talked about it, yeah? Why are you giving me this rook? What am I blundering? I don't think I'm blundering anything. Wait, I cannot take this rook now. I'm very confused. confused. Um, okay, but yeah, he should have played bishop g7 immediately, of course. Bishop g7, then black is sort of okay. Um, fine, let me check. I don't know. Let me check 2 games, in fact. The previous game, this game. Queen d4 is first line, yeah. This is a mistake. This is a mistake because, oh my god, the rook was protected. Jesus Christ, of course you can just take this thing. But okay, queen e4 is also not bad, but he had to play king f1, yeah. King f1 and this he had to play. And I was thinking about this, yes, queen c2, knight c3, check here, take. He takes here, then king f7, it's advantage black because this is underdeveloped, this is coming really fast. So yeah, he must take the knight. h4, rook is coming here. And trade the queens, yeah, absolutely. Bishop d6, and black is better because this pawn is... You have 3 pawn islands, and this is one. And maybe you can defend because your bishop is really well placed here, yeah? Really good bishop. Solid, protected. But still pair of bishops. Okay, and the other game was here. Alright, knight h6 was kind of a really weird move. But okay, this is first line, yeah. Check. Oh, knight e6, I missed it. Knight e6 was very strong, yeah. Actually, knight e6 and then castles, wow. Oh my god. Here, here, knight d5 and then take, check and take. Wow. Nice combo, dude. If you play like this and take, then rook e1 just wins. If you take here, then take. So bishop f7, put bishop d8, and okay. Obviously, it's advantage white, yeah. Bishop c6, yeah, because rook is already here. That means the rook is coming, yeah. Yeah, that was critical tempo. All right, let's go. Yes, Mr. Nefyodov. We are practicing for your eventual Yanish opening. Pavel, how come Yanish is not used? Why is it called Schliemann? Because in Russian it was Yanish, yeah? I remember when I grew up I used the Soviet encyclopedia and it was called Yanish. I'm not sure why they call it Schliemann. Okay. I can wiki it, yeah? Schliemann. Also called the Schliemann defense, Yanish gambit variation of the English, huh? Huh? Norwegian defense? Oh, knight a5, okay. Yanish. Only top level appearances and candidates, Korchnoi, yes. Prague is considered inferior to the regular Yanish since it responds effectively now. White's advantage. My god, they have Wikipedia with all these names, man. Oh my god, sorry about that. Sorry, I missed. That's the only problem with these events is that, you know, there should be a sound when the game starts and it doesn't ring it. And I missed it. Petro versus Russian defense. Okay, got it. Thanks. Spielman, the pianist movie. I saw pianist movie. I don't remember Spielman. Is it the name of the actor, maybe? Wait, that's not the actor. Was this guy who played the guy who played the pianist in that movie? I mean, what's his name? It's a famous actor. Yeah, knight c3. Okay, bishop c5. And the line I wanted to test was this and knight e5. Okay, that's the main line. That's what Magnus played against me in the Blitz game last year. And Title Tuesday, he played this line. And I actually beat him in the end game. It was... I consider that an achievement. I'm older, less theoretically prepared, and still I kick his ass. It was nice. Adrian Brody, yes, correct. That's exactly it, man. Yeah, I don't like knight d5s coming. But if you play this, I insist on playing this then. Right, let's get rid of this knight. The actor family name in the movie. Okay, got it. Huh. Was it based on the real events? Sounds like, yeah. Normally these movies are all based on the real events, real people. I won't be surprised. What? Queen t3? Sir, are you mocking me? You think there is no threat? My God, you might be correct. That will be so unfair. There should be a threat here somewhere. No way, man. No way there is no threat. Okay, fine, I'll play slowly a6. I'm shocked, actually, that there is no tactics that wins immediately. Absolutely shocked. And on the phone with Chess&Gaming Magdalena, he was happy to hear you streaming. Okay, great. Yeah, he's a good guy. 92. Fine, you forced me to take this thing. Right. And after this, your queen is kind of trapped, man. It's trapped. And guess what? This bishop diagonal is not the only working diagonal in the world. There's also this diagonal. Hello, pawn on e4. Welcome to the pawn grabbing club. Welcome. Welcome our new member to the club, the pawn on e4. How you doing? All right, let's go back. Suddenly there is a threat. I wonder how white meets the threat. I mean, look at the bishops here, mighty and despair, man. I'm just wondering, should I go into the endgame or should I just, you know, try to win this? I mean, how do you protect against this? See, your job when you play the game is try to guess your opponent's next move. If you don't do that, you'll be in for a lot of unpleasant moments in your life. Alright, yeah, that's the only way, but it costs you a piece, yeah? It costs you a piece and also an arm and a leg, meaning the rook. Okay. This is the reason why when you're playing lower rated players, it's a good idea to play some offbeat opening lines. Because they are not that familiar, most of them, with those lines. Okay. Double. Double or nothing. Yeah. All right, dude, you gotta work on your tactics, okay? And the understanding of the piece harmony. Whoa, 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 whoa. What is this game? Looks like Scotch. Not exactly, yeah. Not the Scotch. How's our kid doing here? Oh my god. Queen 5, Queen B1, okay. Who is better? I'm starting to think that black is now outplaying him. Because weaknesses, good square for the knight. I think kid needs just to make a draw and go on to the playoffs, okay? Kid just needs to make a draw and go on to the playoffs. He's faster, younger, more tactically sharp. He has a good chance to win in the tie breaks. Bishop e1, extremely passive, but okay. Outside of this, prevention, yeah? Prevention is the name of the game. Prevents knight c4 with the tempo. Bishops are going all the way back. This is good. That's what you should do. So they're not hit, and they're shooting from the distance, yeah? They're like those annoying Zerg monsters that, you know, that one-shot your battleship. Or they like ADC in League of Legends. Those are the bishops, man. Yeah. Alright, so let me try this myself. Yeah, that's what I like to put the bishop, but the main line is actually d6. And the reason they play d6 is to prevent this. This pawn sack line, okay? This pawn sack line is absolutely nuts. But if you master this line, then you're safe to play Yanish with black, okay? This is the only line that gives black problems. I think this is the only line in the whole Yanish system that really gives problems to black. And now there was some moves here, which I don't remember, of course. I don't think it was 93, to be honest. Probably it was something knight a4 or something. This bishop was... Well, okay, since I don't remember, I'll play this. Yeah, I think I played bishop a6 against Magnus also. Curious. Don't remember that game. It's been a while. Correct plan, Mr. Arsenal Fanrici. I think wrong implementation of the plan. I remember analyzing this for black and it was very complicated. But black has compensation. It like hovers around 0.4, 0.5 advantage for white, but black has compensation. But not anymore. I don't think you have compensation here. Because it's just pawn up, yeah? It's now just a pawn up. Okay, I should be more careful, of course. I should be more careful, that's true. Take. Yeah, if I take, your rook becomes very, very active. I cannot allow that, yeah? So let's play this. And then you go for this, yeah? And if I play this, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Finishing development. Protecting pawn. Hitting this guy. Now I can finally focus on the gameplay here. Come back from retirement. I played some open tournaments. Some 2300 kids made easy draw with me. I lost 15 rating points and I think that was the end of the experiment. Needless to say, I didn't think that was a successful experiment. Now, these are called weak dark squares, okay? No, you should not take this. You should not give me the chance to give you a check, in addition to all your other problems. Although, rook h3 was a very nice touch. No, but king h8, come on, man. I take it with a check, yeah? You just bishop down, no compensation. King h8 you had to play. That was the only move. And then it's still kind of like a little bit unclear. So this is the critical line, I think, okay? This is the line for white. The only line that gives advantage. King e4. Nice knight for a walk. I need your clothes, your jacket, your shirt, and your boots. You forgot to say please. You guys remember that movie from? It was the original, what was it called? Man. What was the name of that movie? The original Terminator, okay? When he just showed up, when Arnie just showed up, yeah? And he sees the two punks and yeah. See, when you castle, he plays d6. This is the position, this is the position. White has no advantage. White is worse, okay? So you have to take on c6 and play knight e5 because this is black is better, okay? This is why I played Yanis, because white doesn't make any bad moves and he is already worse. This is worse for white. Without making any terrible moves. No more Bundesliga? Yeah, but playing Bundesliga doesn't mean that, you know, you are back from retirement. Bundesliga is like I played 10, 11 games maximum. It's just for my team. Those don't count, man. Of course I play that. What I'm talking about is the World Chess Championship cycle individual play. For me, playing chess professionally meant always you have the goal, and the goal is, playing for the World Chess Championship cycle. That's the only reasonable goal a professional player can have. There is no goal for the professional player. I mean, if you're a kid, right, you set yourself up a goal. Do you really set yourself up the goal? I want to be 2700, 2750 player, and that's it. And then I want to make money and date a lot of girls, yeah? I mean, come on, what kid does make that goal? No, they all say, I want to be a world champion. That's it. And if you're not the world champion, then you're not playing professional chess. Yeah. Now this is Sveshnikov, yeah. Yeah, you guys like make amazing metamorphoses. Like Sveshnikov, like, my god. Yes, of course. Of course. No, but okay, I had huge respect for uh uh what's his name? Rajabov. He played it all his life with great results. Supposedly Igor Natov taught him actually that, and also King's Indian. So Igor Natov played like huge role in Raju's development. Kind of amazing. So King h6, huh? A dilemma, right? What are you gonna do? Big questions, big questions. All right, a4. Finally, white is going for this b5, a5 thing, yeah? And white has more time and better position. So the big question is, why can't you play this? Because you don't have time. The knight is hanging, you cannot take this. Then you have to take and play this, yeah? And then white can just take this pretty much. Not really, huh? Rook a2, wow. This is very inhuman move, I can guarantee you this, okay? If you can find Rook a2, you're a super grandmaster, okay? If you can find this move, you're a super grandmaster. I won't even look at this move, This is the difference between super grandmaster and elite grandmasters, okay? Okay, not elite, just regular grandmasters, okay? Rook a2. Stops knight a3, and then you take this pawn. +1 advantage for whites. Good job. Okay. Stops knight a3. That's the point. The only point. It's always prophylaxis. It's like I told you. Try to guess your opponent's next move. But this is next level. Okay? It's like Jumanji next level. Oh, rook e4 was terrible. Now black wins. You had to play king f1 and leave your rook on f4 because rook needs to control the f1 square. Because now you lost. Okay, you're not actually lost. You have a draw, but you're very lucky. You don't lose immediately. You're very lucky that you don't lose this immediately. Ah, king d8, nice move. And now he is losing, yeah? But you have to find this move. It's not easy. Black can win. Come on, d5! d5, bishop takes rook a1, you win. h6 is like, no. And now you don't, d5 doesn't work. Now bishop just goes to f1. And now, like, you have to win again. Actually, black is maybe even worse here. My god, what is that game? Ah, full range of emotions, yeah? Alright. Yeah. So, gentlemen, yeah, English is not bad. If you can learn to play this line with knight c3, knight takes c5, bishop c5, and it's playable, then you're good. The other line that I play normally against Pavel is knight c3, but that's kind of pretty much draw, okay, with the correct play. It's just draw. No advantage for white. And I don't know any other lines where white has advantage. I think black is just fine everywhere. Yeah. And it is a friendship game, yeah? Draw. My god. uh, absolutely crazy. How this is a draw, yeah? Yeah. Okay. A5. Black is going into the tactics, and white should be better in the tactics. If this pawn on d5 is gone, this bishop becomes a monster. Absolute monster. So we have to check this line, yeah? If you take rook c3, so rook d2. Alright. Alright, so let's see it. Once again, you have to take on c6, because now black is fine. If bishop c4, there is knight a5, and then bishop back, knight back is a draw. Okay, it's bishop c4 is important, yeah. Yeah, you have knight d5, etc., etc., but it's not scary. The reason it's not scary because you open the g file and you start attacking. Okay, so bishop g4 actually yourself, and then you can take this. No, but this, yeah. Ooh. Remove this guy. Check. Queen here or here? Probably here. Or maybe b5, yeah, because he wants to play c3 maybe. So b5 makes a lot of sense. I want to kind of put the queen here. Alright, we can do it actually, yeah. This is actually a threat. It's actually a huge threat. If I play this. Yeah, I have to play c3, then I take, you take, I take, and should be an advantage for me. Rook back or rook g8, yeah? Which one? I kind of like this rook here, but on the other hand, maybe I want to trade the queens. Do I? Okay, queen trade is actually a very safe way to play this, so let's do it. He might have some ideas like setting this up, but once he plays f3, this bishop takes the square, then, you know, black is definitely better, yeah? Black is definitely better. Well, right now this is kind of big threat. and also take away the square from the bishop. So that's good. Yeah. So bishop b3 is coming, yeah. So extra pawn, now is the phase where we have to convert the advantage. How do we convert it? It's a good question. I don't know. I don't know. Maybe there's, I don't like rook h4 to be honest. And b5 is kind of problem maybe. Fine. Let's go aggro. The best defense is a good offense, okay? So let's go. Let's go with a good offense. And let's get the king out of the box. King here will be pretty safe. c5. This bishop is... Yeah, his bishop is also good, but my bishop is better, I think. And can just push the pawn. Rook g2. Okay, king here. King is safe. No mate is possible now. And just push it. And push this and that. Actually, I could be wrong, yeah? There's some mating ideas, actually. Damn. I misplayed it. I missed some mating ideas. He is correct. Yeah, I have to play this, yeah. Good defense, good defense. Good job. And this is probably actually draw now, yeah. I thought it was very easily winning, but very good defense. Very good defense, man. Get that rook out. So, is it still a draw or not? Big question. Big question. Then I go back. No, it's not a draw, yeah? Black wins. Black still wins. My king is way too active. Your pieces are... You allowed me too much, you know? Check. Check. Alright. But good try. Why not knight b5 to win a piece? You analyze the knight c3 variation where black has a piece for 3 pawns. Okay, we can actually look at it if you want. By the way, I just wanted to mention it. Normally I give lessons for like $100 an hour, but to my subscribers, if you're my Twitch subscriber, you get a discount, 50%. Right? You get $50 an hour lesson with me. Anything you want in chess. Look at positions, look at some opening lines, look at your games, discuss something, whatever, okay? Yeah, 50% discount, so it's $50 an hour. It stays until I bring it down. But this is only for my Twitch subscribers. If you're not my Twitch subscriber, you're out of luck, sorry. All right, and with that note, let's take a look at what's happening here. Guys, thank you for the coming to the arena. How did we get this? Oh, he played rook a2, which is also not bad. And he plays this, okay, safe, but rook d1, logical. But okay, this is not easy to convert. I really don't like this move because potentially you're putting yourself into the pin, and I hate pins. Yeah. He should have played this immediately if he wanted to do this. So, advantage white, but okay. Black has 7 moves to make before he makes time control, and this position very hard. I think knight b5 is automatic, yeah? Now the big question, how does white play? This is very logical. Very logical move, and now this move is going to be really difficult to make. Knight e5 is human, but then you have this. And because bishop hits this pawn, you must play this. And you see it's +2, okay? All right, let's wait for the time control to happen, and then I take a break, and then I come back in the evening, okay? So let's finish watching this game. I'm still a Chess.com streamer. Nope, I sent them a notice, official notice, that I quit the Chess.com streaming, and if they refuse to let me go, that's their problem. Out of luck. In what regard? You don't get discount if you want to get a lesson with me. Yeah, it's a joke, man. Come on, I'm not serious. Yeah. Okay, we are not going into that topic. Okay, you please don't provoke me. Okay, I am very firmly against cheating in chess. Okay, very firmly, and I'm of opinion that online chess right now is in a crisis because of this cheating problem. And I think there is not much that's being done to address this problem. Okay. That's it. That's my statement. We're moving on to the next topic, which is back to the topic of this channel, which is chess and chess game, okay, itself. Analyzing, commentating, sharing insights, etc. All right, what happens? Knight. Ooh, really brave move, man. My God, with 20 seconds on the clock, that's balls, man. I know about you guys, but playing knight a3, you know, far away from your pieces, opponent has a pair of bishops. These knights are now like forever attached to each other like those quantum particles, yeah? My God. This is serious, okay? So, the big question, where does rook go? The human move is obviously this, yeah? This is obviously human. Cut off the knights, protect the rook, keep this thing. The problem is that the black has to play this, create this threat, bishop b2. That is the only problem, and now we have to figure out the solution, because this bishop is kind of bad. If you can move this bishop to here, c5, white is like winning immediately, yeah? But right now this bishop is a problem. So how do you solve this? The only way to solve it according to the computer is to play something like this. Take, take, take. Then knight e5, create rook c8 threat. And black rook must be here. And play like this. Then probably king f1, yeah. Slowly incremental improvement of the position. Bishop here, check, king h7. And advantage, white's advantage is obvious. These pieces are kind of away, but they're protecting stuff, yeah? I mean, if you attack this pawn, then it's immediately something like this, and rook d1 is the threat, yeah? So you need to be very precise here. It's not easy. He plays rook e2, and knight c2 looks like very logical move, or this, yeah, pinning. And the question is this pin a real threat or not? Yeah. See, the engine plays f4, rook d2. I like f4 because you're preparing here, and then bishop b6 hit the rook. And if this, then you play this. Trades, pawn hangs. So I like f4. He plays rook d2, which is engine first line. The threat is knight f6 check. So this king move is almost mandatory. If you play something else, like this, then knight moves and you lose this pawn. Okay? So king h8 is pretty much mandatory. And the question is, can you still move this knight, yeah? And hit this thing. And then he plays this and knight a b5. Wow, okay. Which is why you played this. Stops knight c7, stops knight c4. My god. Black is paralyzed. And then he has to find this. And knights are being remaneuvered. And you have to play this, yeah. Trade pair rooks, so you're not scared of this. And it's good luck, black, to try to survive this endgame. It's going to be long pressure. He plays rook d6. Incorrect. Now, after knight e3, problem protecting this guy. The question is, will it be played? Black is in time trouble. White is actually 2, but he has a much better position. Yeah, knight e3 now is a big thing. The problem is that you don't take with the rook, but you take with the bishop, yeah? And then the bishop comes out here, maybe. Oh, you actually take this. Yeah, bishop, this is the problem. Knight d6, knight d5, knight b5, bishop e3, and white got what he wanted, yeah? He got what he wanted. How do you win this? That's a good question, I don't know. But it looks winnable. Okay, here you just grab the pawn. Yeah, this bishop is a killer bishop. Very bad position for black, very hard. Did he find knight e3? Yeah, he found knight e3. Wow. Yeah, Marc-André is playing like a machine here in this game. Fantastic. Fantastic display. Very impressive. Very, very impressive. You know, I remember that almost with every student that I have, especially advanced students, first thing I focus on is improving their endgame skills, okay? If you notice, a lot of games, especially the top level chess, they end up in the endgame anyway. So it really pays off to focus on developing your endgame skills ability. And that's what I focus on. Yeah, I actually when I came just here first time and I just met Alireza and I looked at his games and I saw that his endgames at the time were not that great, so I came and gave him this Dvoretsky book and told him to study it. And, you know, was pretty happy to note that he was making improvements in endgames areas. Do I work with adult newbies, improvers, or only competitive players? I work with anybody these days. Yes, I'm more oriented toward adult players, but I kind of like got my latest student to the grandmaster level. He only just needs to play in the tournaments and score the GM norms. And I got Marc-André to the, you know, to the high level as well. And then Laurent took over because at that level you need to study theory. And sorry, I can study theory, okay, but yeah, find it hard to play against players who play super correctly because you can play without complication. You find it hard to play against people who are slightly unsound because they're, well, I find it hard to play against people who pose me problems in theoretical lines. That's the only problem that I experience in chess at the moment. Okay, very few people can just outplay me straight away. in equal position, they're like, I don't think anybody can outplay anybody, any grandmaster which is good at 2600, 2650 elo should be able to hold his own in equal position, okay, against anybody, provided you have plenty of time, no time trouble, etc., etc. So in that regard, I feel like very confident. The only problem is that I don't survive uh, theoretical lines with black. That's my kind of weakness. But if I'm prepared, if I analyze, I prepare for the game, I analyze the opening, which I do, you know, then I'm okay. I mean, if you guys looked at my recent French team championship that happened in, where was it, my God, where our team became the champion, yeah, I won like 3 or 4 games, and I played most games with black, and I scored most of my wins with black, okay? And, you know, I did pretty well. All right. All right, Mr. Sinisi, you can contact me at this email. It should be in my Twitch. I'm not sure. Is it in my Twitch? There is a about section on Twitch, which should have my info. Does it have it? I don't know. Let's check. I don't know. Let's check. Yeah, I don't see it. You're right. Yeah, I don't see it. You're right. Alright, I'll have to put it here sometime. Okay. Problem for black. White plan is simple. King comes here, trades the knight. King comes here, bishop takes the knight, and bishop takes 2 pawns. Okay, pretty simple plan. How does black protect against that? I have no idea. Okay, let's check. Here, here. Knight c7 must be played because you need to move your king to c8. Can you do it without it? Like this. See, it's +1, yeah. Here, here. King e8, knight c4. Already this is a problem, yeah. Knight cb5. If I take. Bishop here, king d7, and you're just on time, yeah? Okay. Knight c4 is good. What is the problem? The problem is if you play this immediately. Why? What's the difference? Check. Because king goes here. And bishop c5. And then black is paralyzed, yeah? Because this is actually lost. Wow. The reason it is lost is because black is now in Zugzwang. And you hit this pawn. If this pawn moves, the king infiltrates here. If you're protected with the knight, apparently there is some sort of a Zugzwang. Is there a Zugzwang? I'm curious. Knight d6. King d5. King d7. Bishop here. King c7. Bishop here. King d7. King probably e5. King e7. King d4. King here. Well, how do you win this? Here. You can do the check, but then king moves here. Then you play h5. Now the knight has to move, and he moves here. And then you push this guy to g5. King here. Maybe king goes here, yeah? Sounds like a plan, because black must remain in the spot. If he plays like this, then king comes here. Maybe g5. Take. Here. Check. King e7. King c5. Yeah. Yeah, this is a very instructive endgame, by the way. You should analyze it. It's not easy to win. but it should be winnable because pawns are on the light squares and bishop and king is stronger than the knight and the king in the endgame. And you have two weaknesses, this weakness and this weakness. You should be able to win this. It's not gonna be easy. Here, 3. If king is 7, king b6, so I must play this, and this. King 5, king is 7. My God, I don't see the window. Triangle, yeah? Triangle, and then it's the opposition. If this, then you play this, maybe, yeah? Check, and then you play here, here, and then you go here, and maybe even this. No. Yeah, okay, this and bishop d5, yeah? King b8. How do you win this? G2, king here. This must be a win. Maybe bishop here. King d6. Oh yeah, okay, this is a win because now the king cannot join, yeah? And you play this, yeah. And you win a tempo. Finally, you force this pawn to move. And then you get the square. So f6, bishop here, f5, bishop here. And now this is lost pawn. Now you win this pawn, bishop e6, pretty much. No, gotta be careful, king d4, yeah. Alright, so we got the method, yeah? So you need to put the bishop on this diagonal, and then you need to put it here. The big problem was to get the king here also. Yeah, so this is a win. So that's what you need to get. If you give a check and here, like bishop f3, he plays here, then you can still, then your king goes here. And then it's a win. Because you can take this, and bishop d5, king f5, king g7 wins. All right. Well, it looks like repetition, but it's not exactly repetition. The thing is, there is a lot of zugzwangs, okay? And it is actually incredibly, it looks simple, but it could be incredibly difficult, okay? Because there are a lot of checks, there are a lot of finesses, yeah, and a lot of zugzwangs. So the machine is trying to figure out the zugzwang and trying to repeat moves, yeah. But you need to gather the idea. The idea was, so how do you get to this position? And you get to this position by centralizing king. The king must be here, and then you push the pawns, and then you do this zugzwang, okay? So that's the idea, all right? That's how you win this. Now the question is, can he find all that? I don't know, but he will try. All right, this game is gonna take forever. They just made time control. It's gonna last until the next second time control for sure, okay? And it's very difficult for black to hold this. This bishop is a monster, yeah? So I'll go and get a break, guys. And then I'll come back in the evening in about like 3.5 hours, and then I'll do the recap of this game. And we're gonna watch the Sinkfold tournaments. Wait, they have a rest day today, yeah? Wait, do they? Yeah, I think they have a rest day actually. Yeah, they have a rest day today. Okay, so today we'll do this just the recap of the French Championship. It's the last day today. And we do another thematic arena, okay? Yesterday we did London G6. Let's finish with the Londons today and tomorrow. Today we'll do the Londons, then E6, no D5, and tomorrow Londons with D5, okay? All right. So I'll see you guys around 10 p.m. European time, okay? Everybody okay? All right. Yeah, g6 is a fighting move. It's not for CCs. Okay, sorry. Alright guys, see you. See you later tonight. Bye.